Alright, here we go with card number 3. Pull it up here a little bit so you can see it. This has got a little technique on it that they call faux silk. I got maybe better lighting over here. This is a faux silk technique, so be prepared to maybe learn something new. So, in your supplies, you're going to have this little kind of kit. We've got an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of paper. We're going to fold in half. Lost all my tools since I stopped from the last one. Then I've got a piece of paper that is 5 1/4 by 4 that comes from the Tidings and Trimmings suite or bundle. That there's a Christmas paper. This is in the annual catalog. This paper. It's real pretty. I've used it several times on my Christmas videos. I bought a bunch of it, planning to do Christmas card stuff with it, and I keep shaking it up because I don't want all the cards to show with the same materials. Did I get that? I got that on a little crooked. And am I going to be able to pop it? Slightly move it over. There we go. All right. Now, set that aside. This big crumb cake piece goes on the inside, so let's set that aside for now. Did I not bring my little crumb cake piece from this kit? Yeah, I know it's on my desk somewhere. It's one of those just gotta find it kind of things. So here's the piece. And then these two are going to go on top of each other. But you are going to take your tissue from your kit and cut it down to somewhere that's going to fit on this small crumb cake piece. And this is 4 inches by 2 3/4 inches. So you're going to need a little bit to overlap, so, or, you know, wrap around. So, and for video's sake, I'm going to make this a big one. I'm going to go 4 1/2 because you know how Murphy's Law works. I'm going to cut it short, and then the next step I'm going to wind up with too small. Let's take our piece of paper, and now we're going to stamp on this. This one side appears a little bit more paper-like, and the other side appears a little more shiny, shimmery. You can try whichever side you would like. I'm going to try and stamp on the paper-like side. We'll want to make sure that we go slow enough to give it time to dry. It looks like this might be taking a little bit of time to dry. I did not notice it when I made my sample, but you never know. I could have done it and walked away and came back, but you're going to stamp your solid image, big leaf, randomly on your paper. Leave a little space, but I should have my foamy thing under me too, so turn it all every which way and give it a go. So just fill that paper up with some crumb cake leaves. I'll take a second to wash my stamps this time between use. Maybe that'll give everything a second to dry. See if I can get my wits about me. as I said, I'm not really cleaning up between cards, so as I come back, I'm needing to wash things and figure out where I set it from the last time that I used it. So this paper is Evening Evergreen. That's the ink now. We're going to come in with the solid, tap, tap, tap. We're going to do our solid leaves, or not our solid leaves, our veined leaves on top of the solid crumb cake image that we just put down. And I'm using this grid paper underneath just so I can stamp off, and then I'm not going to have all these images to deal with in my video. That one didn't stamp very well. But that's okay. We might cover that one up. Am I getting out of the frame? So we're just going to fill these in. Like so. I'm rocking my stamp, you guys, so I'm getting all kinds of ink all over the block. Just got to be careful not to put that down. I should have wiped it off, but it's got to be careful if you do that not to touch down on your paper, or you will end up with another image on your paper that you might not really want there. Okay, so we're going to close that one up before we end up with that everywhere. And then now we're going to come in with our Cajun Craze with just the veins of the small leaf. And then we're going to just stamp those down. And this one looks to be a little bit juicy still on the paper. So thinking that the pigments in this might not be cooperating. I'm gonna have to pause and then I'll go over and dry it. I can see that they're wet. And the next step is not gonna play nicely if they're wet still. So let me get these all down. Just be careful, like I said, when you stamp down that everything is, oh, I didn't get this one too dirty, so. Nothing worse than wrecking your card at the last steps when you've over-stamped or over-inked or whatever. So hang on, I'm going to go over to my heat tool and heat this, because I don't know if you could see it or not, but that's still wet. And the next step is not going to play nice if that's wet, so hang on. Alright, another thing to remember. Oh, this doesn't look like it got dry. Huh. This is like tissue paper, and it might not play nice with your heat tool. So I'm now going to run it this way, and just, I don't know why it's wet. It could be, I have two different Cajun Craze ink pads, so it could be that this is a different one than I used on the first sample. And it's got more pigment or something in it, but you can see it wasn't quite dry. So we're going to now proceed, even though that still does not look dry on there. How weird is this, guys? Good thing there's a lot of tissue in the kit if you run into this problem where your ink is still wet. You can always do it again. Okay, but when you get them all dry, smoosh it up. Smoosh it all up into a ball, because you want it all wrinkly. And when you unfold, hopefully see, now you got all the wrinkles on it. That's what you want. Then you're going to take your small, let me get this paper out of here now. Then you're going to take your small crumb cake paper, and the tutorial that I watched said to use a glue stick. I'm not so sure that I have any glue sticks, so I just used my snail stuff, adhesive, and I just coated it really good. So if you have glue stick, give it a shot. It will probably work better than, it would be much cheaper than wasting a half a packet of snail, but get it all good and sticky. You could use your liquid glue, just make sure to get it all covered really well. And then you're going to take your piece and you're just going to, you know, if you got one place that you like better than another, you're going to put it over that. So like this little boo-boo here, I'm going to have that sentiment on there, so why don't I try and move that down toward the bottom, and let me put this right up at the top and see. And then you're just going to smash it down on there like this. And then flip it over and go ahead and put your adhesive on the back. And then you're going to glue this to the back. So go ahead and, you know, fold it over like that. And then cut out your corners. Should have mitered them first. You want to cut those at a somewhat of an angle. I can never remember which way you gotta miter them. So I think we want to go this way. And cut it up this way. And then we'll cut a little bit this way and this way. And I know that's not exactly right, guys. It's working for me, so that's the way I'm doing it. And then I'll cut this one at a little bit of an angle here, and I'll cut that one at a little bit of an angle there. And then fold them up. You just want them to be able to tuck in at the corners without being all bunchy. And then that's it. You're going to glue this flat onto your evening evergreen paper. I think I'm out of, yep. Glue it flat onto the evening evergreen, and then we'll pop it up onto the front of the card. There we go, much better. That's not where I want it. That's not where I want it, so I'm just going to trim a smidge off the end of this. Make it look a little closer, because I'll never get that off there. Then we're going to put some dimensionals on the back. Like so. And then we're gonna, Patty is calling me, and I cannot answer right this second because I'm filming. Alright, so then we're gonna pop that up in the center, and then I have some of the Evening Evergreen chevron weave ribbon that I'm just gonna cut a little piece off from that. Try and You could, you know, make the ends angled. If I had folded that in half and then cut it at an angle, the ends would have that little notch in them. And then I'm going to glue that down flat. Onto the card, and look, I was able to cover up most of that part where I double stamped it. You guys, these videos are pretty rough this time. I'm doing it as I go. I'm cutting a card and then I'm coming over and making a video, so they're pretty rough, and I'm not really editing a whole lot out, so you guys see me in all my discombobbled glory. We're going to stamp Your Blessing in Evening Evergreen. But hey, I'm keeping it real, right? You're a Blessing probably is not on camera. Then I, just for a little added pizzazz, I cut it at an angle on that piece. And then I did pop that up as well onto this ribbon. Got this kind of wonky pack of dimensionals going on where the back part, when I peel it off, is stuck, so it's got sticky on both sides. Or the tape is on both sides. And then I just sort of like eyeballed that over the ribbon so it sticks out a little on both ends. And then I have these genial gems, and maybe this one I'll use the light color instead of the green color. And there you have it, everybody. Go ahead then and layer in your crumb cake inside, and I think I want to go ahead and put, I'm going to use the small leaf, and I'm going to put a couple of the small leaves inside, just for, I'm going to stamp off on this random, because look how dark that is. It still looks pretty dark. Maybe I'll just do one. No, I gotta do two. We'll do two. Yeah, I think it's my ink pad, you guys, because I'm seeing some weird stuff going on. So if you've got this Cajun craze, hopefully yours will work better. It's all kind of soupy, and then taking a long time to dry. Because I think the pigment is coming out of the ink, coming to the surface or something. And not drying very good. But then we're going to put this on the inside. And I think it'll be okay to have the crumb cake color on the inside without another layer of, you know, like very vanilla or something. I think crumb cake will be nice. You can still write on that, and the ink will show through real nice. And there you go. That's card number 3.